Hey, what's good fam? In this video, I'm going to walk through customizing the opening screen on the SP-404 Mark II. First, I'll break down how to install the images, then I'll talk about the format they need to be and show you how I designed them. So, long story short, what you need to do is export a project to the SD card, swap out the startup image files, then import that project back into the machine. Before I start, the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project. It can be an existing one, but I want to start fresh. Holding Shift and hitting Pad 14 to open up the Import-Export menu, I select Export to SD card, then Project, and choose the new project I just created, which is on Pad 2. Now, eject the SD card and put it in the computer. So here's what the file structure looks like in Windows Explorer. The project I just exported can be found under Export, then the project folder. What I'm going to do is copy this Project 02 folder and paste it directly into the Import folder. Now, because this is a new project without any samples or patterns, I can just import it whenever I want to start a new project on the 404 with the startup images I'm about to load onto it. So I'm going to rename it Project X. Open it up and head to the picture folder. These two startup BMP files are the two I'm going to be replacing. Righto, now to select some images to copy over. First, I have this simple logo I made with a font called Warpaint. And in this folder, I have a stash of ones I've designed. If you're interested in getting your hands on a copy of these, I'll put a link in the description to where you can cop this startup image pack. I'm going to select the Pac-Man one. The next step is to delete the two startup bitmap files and rename the custom ones exactly as the originals were. Now eject the SD card and back to the 404 we go. Hit Shift and Pad 14 again, choose Import from SD card and Project. Now you can see Project X comes up straight away, and I import that to Pad 3. Load that project up and restart the machine to see how it looks. Okay, so now with that covered, I'm going to show you how I've been designing them. The image format for the SP-404 Mark II's OLED screen is very specific. The size of the image is very small. It's 128 by 64 pixels, and it is a 1-bit bitmap format. That means there is no colors or shades of gray, just black and white. I'm going to quickly do up two examples for you guys. First, I'm going to make one in Paint, and then I'm going to make another in Photoshop, so you can see the settings I use in both. When creating a new image in Paint, the first thing to do is resize the canvas. Deselect Maintain Aspect Ratio, switch it from percentage to pixels, then change the horizontal value to 128 and the vertical to 64. Now, with the Fill tool, color the background black. At this point, I'm going to save the image as a BMP picture and change the Save As type to monochrome bitmap. So next I'm going to zoom all the way in, then turn on grid lines and the thumbnail preview so I can keep an eye on what it looks like at its regular small size. For this, I'm going to use the text tool, and I will say this, not a lot of fonts like being this small. You may need to try a few until you find something that looks good. Ultimately, I found it's better to just learn how to draw a font from scratch with the pencil tool, but for this one, I'll continue to use this font, which is called Bender. Alright, that's about as far as I'll take this one. Now to switch over to Photoshop and draw something. When creating a new image in Photoshop, these are the settings I'd recommend starting with. Specifically, the dimensions set to 128 by 64, color mode set to 1-bit, background contents set to white, and pixel aspect ratio set to square pixels. Like the last one, first black out the background, then zoom in until you can see the pixel grid. I often like to create a vertical guideline at the 64th pixel so I can keep an eye on where the middle of the canvas is. Now, with the pencil tool, I'm going to just start drawing. This 1-bit pixel art thing has been a really interesting rabbit hole to go down. It's actually kind of therapeutic. This is an example of one of the fonts I've learned to draw, which I think looks better than using the text tool at this resolution. When saving the image, it asks what bit depth. 1 bit is probably the only option, but make sure it's selected. And that's that. Let's see how they look. The last thing I should add, if you already have a logo or image that you want to use, presumably it's a much larger image size and higher bit depth. You may have some luck scaling it down and tracing it on another layer in Photoshop. This is what I did when I made the startup screens for Ski Beats and DiBiase, but to be honest, it hasn't always worked out well. I actually find starting from scratch and trying to draw it 1 pixel at a time can be faster and a more fun experience. I hope this video has helped shed some light on how to do this, and thanks heaps for watching. As always, feel free to get at me in the comments if you have any questions. Laters!